were unable to supply electricity, and as a consequence, electricity could not be supplied to the exciter that I've explained about before. And the reason for this was the diode short circuiting, so we decided to remove this component. We've checked in advance that it's okay to do so, but by doing this, we have been able to confirm that the same phenomena would not occur. The equipment in which the problem occurred is different, but it is still short-circuiting that is considered to have caused that overcurrent that consequently prevented the supply of electricity to the equipment that was needed to ignite the engine. It makes you realize that so much care is necessary when designing electric equipment. Yes, that's right. H3 has used technologies from the past in the development, and so many equipment or devices are something that we have been using from the past. And when we use them in H3, we need to check again to make sure that there won't malfunction in H3, and to confirm that the same type of phenomena will not occur in the same type of location. And even if there is a problem like with test flight number 1, we have to try to prevent the launch from being stopped. And it's very important to adopt the thinking all the way through in that way. Thank you very much, Kotani-san, for your explanation. I too have seen firsthand the efforts made by everyone involved at Tanegashima here in identifying the cause and implementing countermeasures following the failed launch attempt last year. I was truly able to feel a strong resolve from everyone that are going to identify the cause and make the next launch a success. Kotani-san, I know that you were involved in the work to identify the cause at Tsukuba. Do you have any memorable episode that you may be able
to... Testing. It looks like we are good and we are live. Hello, everybody. My name is Andrew, and this is Rocket Future. We are coming from our studio, or specifically my apartment today, and we are going to do a live broadcast about the H3 rocket here tonight. So, as y'all probably know, we usually cover Starbase and Starship content, a lot of SpaceX stuff, and occasionally we'll do these studio streams for any launches that I find particularly interesting or exciting. Sometimes we'll do crewed launches and that type of stuff. But today, this launch is particularly exciting for me. This is a H3 rocket that is expected to launch from Tanegashima, Japan. It is the second ever launch of this rocket. Unfortunately, the first one did end in a failure. We'll talk a little bit more about that failure in just a few minutes here. But we are just about 35 minutes out from the launch window opening for the H3 rocket tonight. It is a multi-hour window. The launch, it goes, let's see, right now it is 5:48 Central Time. I think it goes around till like 9 something Central Time. So multi-hour launch window here, but hopefully they can get this rocket off right at the start of the launch window here. So I'll tell you all a little bit about what's happening here, what this rocket's all about. As you can see, this is some footage from the first launch of the H3. So it appears that there was some sort of electrical failure during the first launch. It sounds like some electrics made contact with some metal in the system. They believe that caused electricity to flow the wrong way and caused a failure in the vehicle. So we're hoping that they nail it this time. We hope that this is a fully successful flight. Japan, I would love to see them increase their flight cadence, and I would love to go over there someday and see a flight. I'm wearing my lucky H3 hat, my H3 launch vehicle hat that I got from Tanegashima Space Center. For some good luck here, I got to visit there in October or November, and it was absolutely amazing. So I got to see some of the facilities, and it's really cool to see them launching again tonight. So I'm really hoping they were able to get this vehicle off the pad, and let's hope for a successful flight tonight. So if you're tuning in, welcome in everybody again. My name is Andrew, and you're watching Rocket Future. Let me know if you're in chat. Let me know where you're watching from, and let me know if you've watched the H3 flight, the previous one. Let me know if you watched that. So don't worry about the layout we have here. I know that the screen is a little bit smaller, but once we are close to launch, we're going to bring you in on that full screen, and we're going to make sure that you get a full, beautiful view of launch. But in the meantime, we might bring up some information about H3 rocket and all that good stuff. So we have permission to stream this footage today. Thanks to JAXA, we had to specifically request that we are able to watch it. And I do have ad revenue turned off. So this is not a monetized stream, and we're hoping to just bring you some excitement about what JAXA is doing over in Japan. And this is an exciting launch, a test launch, always exciting for a new launch vehicle. So as you can see, we see an H3 rollout from their pad, this whatever they might call their high bay there. And pretty big rocket. It's, let's see if we can get some specs going up on it. It is 63 meters or 207 feet. Let's tune in here.
So it seems very long, but it seems short as well. Now, we would like to show you what is going on now in Tanegashima in preparation for the launch today. What you see behind us is the launch pad where H3 launch vehicle is. We are at the Takesaki Observatory, which is approximately 3 kilometers from the launch pad. Let's turn to the weather information that we are all interested in. There is a bit of a cloud, but it's very fair weather. Yes, I think it's good for the launch.
So that's good. They're reporting that weather conditions are looking good for launch so far. Again, just over 30 minutes until the launch window for today opens. But Tanegashima Space Center is such a gorgeous location. It would be so cool to see a launch from there. As you can see, it looks like they have some clouds going on today, but it's just such a gorgeous area there, especially when there's nice blue skies, and it really brings out the blue of the water there. It's really amazing. So you can see out kind of on that peninsula right at the end, you can see those tall lightning arresters. Those are, those white and red towers. Those are in order to redirect lightning in case there was a storm in the area. They could try to redirect the lightning to hit those towers instead of the actual rocket itself. But towards the left, you see that yellow-white vehicle sitting there. That is the rocket that we're expecting to take off the pad here today. So good news about the weather. So now they just have to hopefully not be tracking any technical issues with the vehicle. I'm sure they're going to check weather again prior to liftoff, but it sounds like they aren't concerned with anything considerable for today's launch.
And the status had exceeded the specified value.
So right now they're discussing why they had to originally move this launch. It was supposed to launch, I believe, 2 days ago at this point, but there was some severe weather in the area, or not even necessarily severe weather in the area, but weather that, as they said, exceeds the criteria that they need for launch. So that's why they moved it, and luckily they were able to reschedule for today, and things are looking pretty good so far for today. While I was over there in Japan, I was actually thinking to myself and my buddies that were there, we were talking about this, that we would love to see a launch from there someday. And I made a comment to them a couple days ago saying that, it's a good thing we didn't try to go out for this one, because I was kind of expecting it to be delayed more than 2 days. But hypothetically, if we did go out for this one and scheduled a couple extra days, which you would always do, hopefully, for a launch opportunity, then maybe we would have still gotten lucky. Now let's see if it actually launches here tonight. But yeah, this is great. So, like I said, I would love to see Japan increase their launch cadence and get some more infrastructure in space. They're obviously a very infrastructure-friendly, advanced infrastructure society and culture. So it would really be cool to see what they can do up there in space. So the manufacturer for this rocket is Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. So yes, this is the Mitsubishi that you're familiar with. As we get views of inside their launch control center there. We got to see, was it this room? I'll have to go back through my pictures. I believe we got to see this room from behind. This looks a little bit bigger than I remember though, so this could be a different room. So yeah, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries vehicle. It's considered a medium lift launch vehicle. So you could roughly correlate this to like Falcon 9. Not quite the same capabilities, but you can think of that area Actually, medium lift, is that going to be Antares more? Let's look at payload capacity here. So payload to GTO, 4,000 to 7,900 kilograms. Again, to GTO, 4,000 to 7,900 kilograms. Let's look at Antares rocket. So yeah, Antares doesn't even list a GTO, which makes sense. Let's see Leo. Leo, 8,000 kilograms for Antares for H3. I don't think we have a listing for Leo. Maybe they haven't released those numbers yet. Like I said, as this is a new launch vehicle. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out a way to compare this against something you might recognize, but let's go height-wise, at least for now. 207 feet versus Antares at 133. So considerably taller than Antares. Now let's compare it to a Falcon 9. Okay, a Falcon 9 is 230 feet, and H3 is 207 feet. So in size, this is a lot similar to a Falcon 9 than something like an Antares. Diameter of the H3 is 5.27. A Falcon 9 diameter, 3.7. So actually, I would definitely, I think my first guess was right. I think this is closer to something like a Falcon 9 than an Antares. So relatively large rocket, nothing compared to what we're seeing down here with like Starship, and nothing compared to like New Glenn, but a very capable vehicle. And I'm really excited to see this thing get off the ground here, hopefully tonight. I'm very surprised that we don't see a, let's see, H3 payload to Leo. Okay, according to Wikipedia, which I would have to check the source that Wikipedia is pulling this from to make sure, but it's saying 28,300 kilograms to Leo. Falcon 9 is just looking here. 22.8 tons. So 22.8 tons to kilograms. So 20,600. So this actually has a higher payload to Leo than the Falcon 9, it looks like. Yeah, impressive. So impressive launch vehicle coming from Japan here.
The weight is exactly the same as Aeros 3, and the gravity center is also the same as Aeros 3.
So at the moment, they are talking about the payload that's going to be on tonight's launch. The payload is known as VEP-4. And let me find some information on VEP-4 for you.
Another is TIR-SAT, which is a 3U satellite, which has 3 10-centimeter squared cubes, which mounts an uncooled small thermal infrared sensor. It can take temperatures.
So VEP-4 stands for Vehicle Evaluation Payload 4. So it sounds like this is kind of like a mass simulator, but there are some smaller sats on it that have some functionality. They were as you just heard them talking about. So some small sats and also a mass simulator, basically, just to ensure that they get this thing to orbit and not put any too important of a payload at risk during a flight test. So that's similar to what we saw with Falcon Heavy when they launched the Tesla.
Injection occurred after the completion of the initial combustion of the second stage engine. We will cover up to the separation of CSAT-1E, which is the launch vehicle status can be checked real time using telemeter. After the launch failure of the first H3 launch vehicle, we have received voices of encouragement for the second H3 launch vehicle at various events. So we conducted a campaign for encouragement. And
very, very cool. So it sounds like they after the first flight failure, they've just had a lot of people, a lot of industry and companies just kind of come show their support, and it's actually written in the, as you can see right here, written in the text, the RTF text on the side of the vehicle. So those just look like three big characters, but they're actually, if you were close to them, you could see all these different names and comments and messages from people in the industry and people in general, giving support for JAXA and letting them know to keep pushing forward and hope to see a successful launch on the second attempt. If you're tuning in, thank you for joining us. Let me know where you're watching from, and if you have any questions about today's JAXA H3 launch from Tanegashima, Japan. I just can't say enough how awesome of a launch complex this was, and I feel very grateful for the fact that we were able to visit. And I hope that if you're a space fan, you take a moment to consider the option of going there someday. If you have the budget to travel and you like traveling, I highly recommend it. Thomas is here saying, "Evening, Andrew. Good to see you, Thomas. Welcome in. Welcome in. We are hoping to see a successful launch of the H3 rocket from JAXA today." This is a Mitsubishi Heavy Industries vehicle, and it is a relatively new launch vehicle for Japan. Let me pull up some more information here. I'm going to bring in their audio here for a second, and then I'm going to take a second to show you something.
そしてその先の失敗でしたので、もう本当に信じられない思いでしたね。その事故原因というか、トラブル原因というか、この間の検証の過程において岡田さんはどうご覧になってきましたか。
はい、打ち上げの失敗3月7日でした。で、その当日からもう飛行データの分析に入りまして、ただこの飛行データというのは本当に厄介なもので、数がデータの数が限られているとか、時間的の分解能も少ない、つまり飛び飛びのデータしかないわけですね。その中で何が起きたかっていうのをまず割り出していくときにパズルを解くようにして順を追って何が起きたかを見ていくんですけども、どうしてもやっぱり最後物が現物がないので、これだっていう確信を持つところまでが本当に時間がかかりました。ロケットのこの失敗から立ち直る時っていうのはいろいろなパターンがあるんですけれども、本当に原因を突き詰めてもう明らかに証拠が出てきて、もうその一つに絞られる場合と、今回我々が取ったようにあるところまで絞ったらそこに全部網をかけて対応して、次に臨むと、ここの塩梅がすごく難しいところで、そうですね、3月の7日からちょうど 4,5 ヶ月した時にはもう出口が見えない状態で、ようやく。
Okay, I figured out what I was trying to do. Welcome in Aiden C and welcome in Ben. Ben says, "Beep boop, I'm a bot." Welcome, welcome. So I wanted to show you where in Japan we're talking about here today. So let me actually put this behind everything. Okay. So this is Japan that we're seeing on the left-hand side of the screen right now. So this is the island of Japan, and as I'm sure most of you are familiar with the city of Tokyo, which is on kind of the eastern side of Japan. So this is where Tokyo is right here. Tanegashima is way over on the southwestern side on this little island down here. And this is Tanegashima. And once you're on Tanegashima, the Space Coast itself is on the southeastern side, so right about down here. Let's switch to satellite view. Actually, why can't I see the bottom? Let me try making this a little smaller. There we go. Here we go. So this is where the launch complex is. They have, I think, two specific, yeah, they have two launch complexes on site. This is the one that we're looking at today. So they have launch pad 2 for the H2B, and then they have this pad over here on the right. I think the H2B pad is actually the pad that we're watching them launch from today, if I'm not mistaken. This up here, the vehicle assembly building, is that building that we saw the rocket roll out from in some of their B-roll footage earlier. So they don't have to roll it too far, which is nice. Relatively close between the vehicle assembly building and the pad, which is pretty interesting. But again, this is on Tanegashima Island right here, which is on the southwest of Japan. So really cool. Relatively not too bad to get to if you want to visit someday. You have to kind of fly from Tokyo. What we did is we flew from Tokyo to, where is it? Kagoshima, which is down here. And Kagoshima has some of the most beautiful views you will ever see in your entire life. So just the flight to Kagoshima is worth it. A couple hours, not too bad. And then you take a ferry out to Tanegashima and rent a car. It really isn't too bad. I thought it was going to be worse than it was. Not so bad at all to get onto Tanegashima. So that's where we're talking about. That's where we're launching from. So I think there's a dogleg trajectory today, but I think it basically comes straight out, and then you see it kind of curve directly south, if I'm not mistaken. I'll see if I can find a trajectory map of what we're looking at today. Checking back with the stream here, these folks are still just talking about why this is an important mission and all of that fun stuff. So let's see if they give us an update here on launch pretty soon. Right now they're showing us inside the Tanegashima Space Center for a second they were showing us inside the little museum they got there, which was pretty cool. Relatively small, but it was nice. But now they're showing the exciting stuff, working on the actual H3 vehicle itself, preparing it for launch. All the umbilicals going into the payload fairing to make sure that they keep the payload safe, or powered and data and all that stuff.
ようやく集中できるような状況になってきましたので、もう一山登るという意味で再挑戦だと思ってます。一日も早くその H3 を皆さんに使っていただけるようにしたいと思ってます。
I found it really interesting how different this broadcast is compared to what we would expect from like a NASA or a SpaceX broadcast. It's a lot, it's kind of a slower tone. And let's check in 1 second.
About his enthusiasm towards the project in this video. Kotani-san, what did you think? Well, H3 project is one of the biggest projects in JAXA, and launch vehicle is a key to going to the outer space. So I'm sure he was under tremendous amount of.
Hey Tony, welcome in. Good to see you, Tony.
Working close to him, and he was trying to identify the cause.
We are under 14 minutes until launch, so we're getting really tight down here in the countdown. Like I said, don't worry. Once we go for launch, we're going to bring you in to a full screen here, so we get the full view of the launch complex and the launch footage. Actually, I'll just do that now, so we don't miss out on anything. We're getting down pretty soon to single digits here on the launch countdown. So another view into Launch Control Center with just under 13.5 minutes to go.
People tend to gather in those locations that they go to meeting rooms, but nothing like that right now. It seems everything progressing quite smoothly. We are also connected to this site. This is the Range Control Center, abbreviated to RCC. And
this is the room that I was able to see, I believe. Earlier, I was saying that I thought that maybe we got to see the Launch Control Center in person, but I said that the room looked a little bit too big. I think this is the room we got to see, and I think we were back in that glass room. So cool to see some of these facilities. Again, highly recommended.
Tracking the launch vehicle. And so the ground stations are on the ground with a large antenna, and they actually communicate with the launch vehicle to obtain information. That information goes to RCC and to understand the state of flight of the launch vehicle. So the monitoring is done here. And project manager, Mr. Okada, is also stationed at the RCC, right? Yes.
So for anybody just tuning in, we are waiting for the second ever flight test of H3 rocket from Japan. The first one did fail, unfortunately. It did not make it to its intended orbit. They had an electrical system issue on board. They think that some electrical systems made contact with some other metal in the vehicle and caused the electricity to flow incorrectly, and that's what caused the failure. So they talked about some mitigations that they put into place. So let's hope that those turn out to be successful. And we'll hopefully see them get their payload into orbit today. They are playing some music right now, and I just want to be careful about copyright. So I'm not going to put their audio back on until we get some of the music done here. So as you can see, this vehicle does use solid rocket boosters. So in addition to the liquid fuel engines, they also have strap-on solid rocket boosters. So we have multiple different parts of separation, different points of separation along the flight path. So we'll see SRB separation, we'll see stage 1 separation, and we'll see all that. This is what the vehicle will look like when it's deployed up to the orbit they intend for it to reach, and they'll start separating out some of their small sats. And as you can see, that big stick hanging out the front of it, that's just the mass simulator. So Ryan Vandervoort, I don't know if I've ever tried to pronounce your name I don't know if I've actually tried to send your name. Vandervoort? Yes, good luck, H3. I was going to check what kind of fuel they are using on this vehicle. I believe it is Hydrolox, but I'm not positive. It could be. I mean, I don't think it's Hydrolox. I think it's probably RP1, but I want to check.
Briefly.
Music's over.
And so there are a number of points that I'd like for you to focus on. The countdown has already started, and 240 seconds prior to the launch, which is 6 minutes before the launch, we start the automatic countdown sequence, which is done on a program basis. And 18 seconds prior to the launch, we will switch to the flight mode.
It is a hydrogen vehicle. This is hydrogen and liquid oxygen. So we're running Hydrolox on this thing.
LE9 ignition. It takes a little time for stabilization. So, and then the solid rocket booster will be ignited just before the launch for the liftoff.
What was the scale? What is that? What were they using there? X180, X something. What the hell was that? Excuse my French. We are under 10 minutes, folks, until the H3 second test flight of the H3 rocket. There it is. I was waiting to see when we would get some live views of the pad.
打ち上げ9分前です。機体は最終的な確認作業が続けられており、現在のところすべて順調との報告を受けています。
It is 9 minutes to launch and
Here we
counting.
go, folks. We're under 10 minutes.
H3 is undergoing its final confirmatory reviews. Currently, everything is going smoothly and going well so far.
Everything's going
打ち
well.
上げ8分前より打ち上げに向けた秒読みが開始されます。
We will start the final countdown at T-8 minutes.
Oh, this is one thing I remember from previous JAXA launches. There's somebody calling out every second of the launch, I think under 10 minutes. So you could just hear that in the background a second ago. Somebody's calling out every second. Usually we wait on our broadcast in the US with NASA, SpaceX, we usually start hearing those called out on the stream at 10 seconds. But there's someone or some automated voice, I don't know whether it is real or not, but they literally call out every second that ticks down, which is so different than what we were expecting, or what we're used to.
It's 8 minutes to launch. All systems are now in their final operations. The restricted area has been vacated and cleared.
Look at those waves back there.
450.
Okay, so I guess they don't count out every second, but maybe the last few seconds of every minute. Maybe that's what they do.
440.
Looks like some venting near the top of the vehicle, so
430.
with a lot of vehicles that would tend to mean that they're probably topping off and that they've probably reached full fuel load. Whether it's the same on the H3, I'm not positive, but I think that's probably likely.
420.
I think what we're probably seeing is a fully fueled rocket ready to go on this launch
準備完了。
Range safety system is go.
車上系準備完了。
Range system is go.
408、407、406、405、404、403、402、401、400。
They must be counting down to specific milestones in the checklist. That's what I'm guessing.
380。
So that top vent must be the top tank. This vent here must be the bottom tank of the second stage,
370。
or the top tank in the first stage. Those two SRBs just barely sticking out. So this vehicle kind of sits under the top of the pad like that. As you can see, the
360。
打ち
SRBs
上
are
げ
half
6
hidden
分
right
前
now.
です。現在車上の天候は晴れ、気温摂氏 14.4 度、北北西の風、毎秒 1.9 メートルです。
I want to go
It's
back to
6
Japan.
minutes to
That's what I
launch.
want to do.
The current weather at the launch site is fine. Temperature is 14.4 degrees Celsius.
Weather's good.
Wind is 1.9 meter per second from the northwest. The weather is still a go, and currently there is no constraint for launch.
Yeah, I
本
agree.
日の
Well
打ち上
played
げ予
stream
定
for
時
sure.
刻は日本時間の午前9時22分55秒です。
Today's scheduled lift-off time 9:22:55 seconds a.m. Standard time.
Like I said, they have a multi-hour launch window today. So far, it's looking like they might get off right at the beginning of this window, which would be excellent. So we're just under 5 minutes away now.
打ち上げ5分前です。
It's 5 minutes to launch.
95、94、93、92、91、290、89、88、87、86、
I kind of want that job.
84、83、82、81、280、79、78、77、76、75、74、73、72、71、270、69、68、67、66、65、64、63、62、61、260、59、58、57、56、55。
While they're continuing down the countdown here, does anybody have experience with 3D printing? If you have any experience with 3D printing, drop into my Discord, !Discord, and let me know. I may have to run some questions by you. But yeah, let me know. We are just under 3 minutes and 50 seconds until the launch of the H3 rocket. This is the second flight test for this rocket. The first one unfortunately did fail. Hoping to see a success this time. So far the weather is green, range is green. Sounds like the vehicle is healthy and ready to go. So we're going to hope that they go right at the beginning of this launch window. They're launching a kind of a mass simulator as well as some mini satellites. And those mini satellites, microsatellites actually have some real functionality to them. But the main purpose is just to get this vehicle tested to make sure it's ready to go.
190、89、88、
一段液体水素地上油圧開始。
Pressurization process of first stage liquid hydrogen has been initiated.
打ち上げ3分前です。
3 minutes to launch.
3 minutes.
74、73、72、
一段液体酸素地上油圧開始。
Pressurization process of first stage liquid oxygen has been initiated.
63、
機体の電源が外部から内部に切り替えられました。
The power has been switched to the internal systems.
54、53、52。
2 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Aiden C is wondering what they will do if they need to hold. Aiden, luckily, like I said, this is a multi-hour launch window today. So if they have any hold for any reason, in case they see any problems with the weather, whether they see problems with the range or any issues with the vehicle, they have plenty of time to go into a hold and check out what might be going on with the vehicle and to see if there's anything they can do to resolve the issue and still launch today. So plenty of time for them to actually start investigating any issues that they might run into. But we are under 2 minutes to go, and so far everything is looking great.
14、13、12、11、110、109、108、107、106、105、104、103、102、101、100、99、98、97、
2段液体酸素地上油圧開始。
Pressurization process of second stage liquid oxygen has been initiated.
Started muting the wrong finger.
85、84、83、82。
Under 1 minute and 30 seconds, now's the time to tune in if you got this on in the background. Switch back over to this tab, and let's see this thing launch. Approaching 1 minute until T-minus 0.
70、69、68、67、66、65、64、63、62、61、60。
Go,
打
go,
ち上げ
go, go,
1
go,
分
go,
前
go.
です。
1 minute to launch.
1 minute.
54、53、52、51、50。
フレームデフレクター冷却開始。
Flame deflector cooling is initiated.
44、43、42、41、40。
I think so, Eric. I think so. I was saying how I wouldn't mind that job. 30 seconds.
34、33、32、
ウォーターカーテン散水開始。
Water spray system at the launch pad is activated.
Water deluge.
24、23、22、21、20。
20 seconds.
19、18、17、16、15、
フライトモードオン。
13、
Flight mode on.
11、10。
Let's get this thing off the ground. I don't want to sit here for hours.
Hydrogen purge igniter on.
全システム発射完了。
Ignition.
All systems are go for launch.
メインエンジンスタート。
Main engine starts.
Liftoff.
SRB3 点火リフトオフ。
Solid booster ignition and lift off.
H3 ロケット試験機2号機は2024年2月17日午前9時22分55秒に種子島宇宙センターから打ち上げられました。
We have a successful lift-off of H3 launch vehicle test flight number 2 from JAXA Tanegashima Space Center at 9:22:55 seconds a.m. on February 11th, 2024, Japan Standard Time.
打ち上げ以降ロケットの管制は竹崎発射管制塔から竹崎総合司令塔に引き継がれています。
The
SRB separation coming up here.
H3 has been switched from launch control center to range control center.
ロケットは現在東南東方向の太平洋上へ飛行しています。
H3 is
That thing looks nuts.
Pacific Ocean to the east southeast.
打ち上げ後1分が経過しました。
I gotta see one of these.
Into flight.
66、67、68、69、70、71、72、73、
Alright, SRB SEP coming up.
76、77、78。
ロケットは正常に飛行中。地上局のロケット追尾状況も
I
正
hope
常
it
で
gets
す。
them on board.
The H3 flight is on course, and the ground stations are tracking the launch vehicle, and all is good.
91、92、93、95。
1 minute, 30 seconds into flight. So far, things are looking good. We're about to see those two solid rocket boosters separate.
101、102、103、104、105、106、107、108、109、110、111、112、113、114、115、116、117、118、119、120、121、122、123、124、125、126、127、128、129、130、131、132、133、134、135、136、137、138、139、140、141、142、143、144、145、146、147、148、149、150、151、152、153、154、155、156、157、158、159、160、161、162、163、164、165、166、167、168、169、170、171、172、173、174、175、176、177、178、179、180、181、182、183、184、185、186、187、188、189、190、191、192、193、194、195、196、197、198、199、100、101、102、103、104、105、106、107、108、109、110、111、112、113、114、115、116、117、1
I don't know if you can hear me when I'm talking over it unless I bring the volume down, but SRB separation literally coming up right here any second. But things are looking good so far. All right, let's see it. Looks like a good separation of the solid rocket boosters.
Solid booster separation.
Yeah, she's still counting up. Hey, how's it going, Soda? Good to see you. Long time no talk. I hope you're doing well.
Ground stations are tracking H3.
37、38、39、40、41、42、43、44、45、46、47、48、49、50、51、52、53、54、55、56、57、58、59、60、61、62、63、64、65、66、67、68、69、70、71、72、73、74、75、76、77、78、79、80、81、82、83、84、85、86、87、88、89、90、91、92、93、94、95、96、97、98、99、100、101、102、103、104、105、106、107、108、109、110、111、112、113、114、115、116、117、118、119、120、121、122、123、124、125、
So I don't know if that's what we're seeing.
第1段エンジンの燃焼は正常、制御系、飛行経路も正常です。
So it looks like
of the first stage engine, attitude control, and trajectory are all nominal.
everything is nominal right now, including trajectory. That's what we wanted to hear.
The H3 flight is on course.
It looks like we aren't going to get any onboard footage from this launch today. Maybe, potentially maybe during payload deployment, but we'll have to see. But so far it sounds like everything is going well.
91、92、93、
And yes, they are still counting up.
95、96、97、98、99、200。
Yeah, I was going to say the same about it not looking super great, but there is a pretty strong dogleg maneuver on this. So, like, and after that, he did say nominal. So let's hope that that's accurate. I think on the last stream.
So the satellite fairing has been separated. We have been able to confirm that. And so H3 launch vehicle test flight number 2 has been launched. It's going quite steadily so far. And so the screen that you're able to see right now, and this is called the flight status indicator for public for the H3 launch vehicle.
Ben also says it could be the angle of the camera. Could be very true. So
the direction the launch vehicle is traveling on is shown in this line. And so we receive information from the launch vehicle and is reflected into the screen.
I was just about to ask, I wonder if this is a preloaded visual or if this visual is reflective of the actual telemetry and flight data. And it sounds like it is actually directly relevant to the flight data. So looks like it's right on track so far, so that's good.
It's about 8 kilometers per second. That is the acceleration too. And next to that is an elevation of the height and the time is.
So MECO and second stage ignition coming up here in just a second.
Of the first stage.
I'm keeping an eye up on the top left of that velocity and altitude. We should see that velocity change here. Yep. And then we should see it start to go back up again during second stage ignition, which would be a good indication that second stage ignited appropriately. So let's see, we currently see that speed go down, but let's see if it starts going up again. I don't see an increase in speed yet.
Going steadily.
I'm hoping they can confirm that the second stage engine ignited. But right now the vehicle is continuing to slow.
16 minutes 30 seconds. So we still have some time until the next event.
Come on. I hope that it was able to ignite. Oh, it just went up for a second there. This is fine.gif, yeah. I don't know. It seems like the speed is going up and down and up and down. I don't know.
So as a launch vehicle, we would have been able to validate that. And using this opportunity, two piggyback microsatellites are being mounted. So the separation...
Ryan says that could just still be the first stage telemetry. That is a great point. That's actually probably accurate. So those graphics might not have actually switched over to the second stage. I think that is a really good theory, Ryan. I don't think we should be too worried about that going down. Because it's probably gonna, that makes sense. Although it's, hold on, the kilometers is still increasing. Sorry, the altitude is still increasing and now the speed is increasing. So I don't think that is true. If the speed was increasing with the if the speed was decreasing with the altitude increasing, and then it started having the speed increase while the altitude decreased, then I would say that was the first stage. But now we're seeing both the speed and the altitude increase. So I think we might be good. And I think we might be tracking telemetry of the second vehicle now.
60 kilometers. So it's even higher than ISS already. And it's 7.
Ben also says the speed is increasing quite a bit now. Yep. I think hopefully we're good. And it looks like it's still right on the path, so.
Up to this point, there has been no issue. That's correct. So you see the flight route in the line. And the announcement says that it's normal and it is on the right path.
Cool. So far, so good.
So last time we were not able to get there.
So my next question is, what is the next milestone for this mission? What can we stay and watch? How long is it until deployment of those microsats? Welcome Marcos Antonio into the chat. Welcome in, Marcos.
It will be shown soon, and this will go around the Earth before the separation. So I don't think that we would be able to confirm the separation during this live streaming, but there would be press conferences and also announcement on the
Marcos says, let's go.
On the website about what happened to VEP-4, so please look at that as well.
Holly is here. Welcome in, Holly. I hope you had a good trip down to Texas. Holly says, what a crazy launch. That flippy thing it does is awesome. Very, very cool. Maybe that's the SRB separation, but it is an awesome vehicle and an awesome launch that we saw here today. It sounds like they were saying that they may not be able to confirm successful separation of the payloads during the live stream, and we might have to wait for a press conference after, which is fine. So let's just hang out here for a little while longer until we see what kind of updates we get. But so far, they've made it considerably past the point that they did on the first flight test. So this is a great progress for the H3 rocket, for JAXA, for Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, and for Japan in general. Congratulations, Japan. 10 minutes in and everything is going well.
Yes, there was an announcement. And
oh, hey, look at this, guys. All right, so on the left side of the screen, you can see VEP-4 separation, stage engine cutoff 2, stage engine ignition 2. If we follow that line around, it looks like we have to wait for basically a full orbit until we get to engine ignition 2, engine cutoff 2, and stage separation. So that could be 90 minutes or so, or more. So we probably won't stick around for that. My question is, when is second stage engine cutoff number 1?
Which is reassuring, and the announcement is such that everything's going well in terms of velocity and also attitude. Everything is looking quite normal right now. And let's talk about H3 a little bit. It's a great opportunity. And H2A is a launch vehicle that is highly reliable, and that is what we are operating right now. But why are we developing?
I wonder if that first dot that is written in Japanese, if that says second engine cutoff number 1. I see a 2 in there, second stage, and cutoff number 1. And that would be right before it looks like maybe one deployment of 1 microsatellite. And it looks like we're actually approaching that pretty quickly, so let's hold tight for that.
And also, the market for the launch is becoming more intense, and so there is a price competition, and so the launch price has been coming down significantly, and so H3 launch vehicle in that regard is able to launch more in comparison to H2A, and so not just the Japanese satellite, but also obtain a satellite abroad as well.
Yeah, it looks like I was correct. Second stage, let me move myself here. Second engine cutoff number 1 and separation of one of the microsats, the CE Sat-IE separation. So let's hold for that, and then maybe after that we're going to wrap things up here. Another few minutes to make sure that they're able to burn through the full first burn of stage 2 and successfully kill off that engine, and then wait for that separation, and then we'll wrap things up. But it looks like they have a second ignition of the second stage, probably for orbit circularization, and then they separate the rest of the satellites. But we'll just wait for this first one, which should just be a couple minutes away, a couple to a few minutes away. And take the advice from Nightbot. Don't forget to follow us on your favorite social media platform. We're on YouTube, we're on X, we're on Insta, we're on Facebook, Twitch, we're on all those things. Ryan says, thanks for the commentary stream. No problem. It is my pleasure. No problem, Holly. It is my pleasure. Yips, and we send monthly postcards from Starbase to your mailbox through our Patreon. So don't forget to sign up for postcards on our Patreon. Thank you for the reminder, Ryan. And don't forget to subscribe, like, comment. All of those things help us very much with no cost to you. That being said, thank you, Ryan and Holly, for being members of the channel. Ryan, you received a gifted membership from Andras Veg. I think it was yesterday. And Holly, thank you for being a member of our channel as well. We couldn't do it without all y'all. And Tony as well. Tony, if you're still here, thank you for being a member of our channel. We appreciate you very much.
Like this. Well, I can talk for more than an hour on that topic, so let me be brief.
We're getting real close here to second stage engine cutoff and the separation of one of the satellites. So we should see that velocity up in the top left. We should see that slow down again here to confirm that the second stage engine did indeed cut off. In probably about 1 minute is my guess.
Track how they travel, but accurate location. When you are able to understand the accurate location, then you can. So whether.
Tony says, "Wow, 14 minutes and not yet at orbital speed yet." What? Let's do the math here. 24,000 kilometers to mph. How fast is... Yeah, they are still, they're getting there. They're getting there. They're about 14,000 miles per hour. For example, the ISS is 17,500 miles per hour, but still increasing. And like I said, they're probably going to cut off the engine here, and then further down the line, we'll see circularization burn, but we won't stick around for that. But they're approaching orbital velocities. They're doing all right, I think so. They're up to 26 now. 27. Yeah, so they're almost at 17,000. So they're there. They're there. Eric is here saying, for your earlier inquiry about 3D printing, I have some experience. Awesome, Eric. If you don't mind, I'm going to drop my Discord. Do you use Discord? If you use Discord, if you wouldn't mind joining in, Eric, I may have some questions for you.
Cutoff had been confirmed, and the CSAT-1E will be separated soon.
Russian American IV get to orbit in 9 to 10 minutes. Yeah, definitely a different.
CESAT-1E has been successfully.
Eric says already joined. Awesome, thank you. I'll post something in probably general chat with some specific questions, either today or sometime this weekend. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out why the thing won't extrude, but I might have some more specific questions.
Number 2, thank you.
So once again, the initial second stage engine cutoff was conducted successfully. So the mission was complete for second stage orbit injection. CESAT-1E was successfly separated. So I was so moved. And at the same time, so the evaluation.
No problem at all, Eric. If you have any few minutes to check out the question, yeah, no biggie. But I would appreciate, any help is super appreciated. But no worries. So just to reiterate, just to confirm, the mission is not necessarily fully successful yet. They still need to make it around the whole globe and then do another burn with second engine. I think that is a huge test for this vehicle to make sure that the second engine is able to reignite successfully. So we're not gonna hang out for that, but I would hold off on saying this mission is a complete success until we get to that point. A reignition of the second stage is huge to make sure that they can circularize the orbit and that the vehicle has the capability of reigniting its second stage. But I think we're going to wrap things up now. So thank you so much, Eric Soder, for becoming a high bay member of the channel. Eric, we appreciate you very much. Any of the support that we're getting through chat, through super chats or members or anything, all of that money is literally just going right back into the channel. So we appreciate you very much, Eric, for that. Thanks to you and any other member of our channel, members of our channel. But yeah, we're gonna start wrapping things up here. I will leave another minute or so just to see if there's any last minute questions. So if you do have any questions, now is the time to put those in chat, and then we'll wrap things up at 6:45 Central Time, unless there are pending questions still. Thanks, Thomas. Have a good night as well. Oh, did I show you all this? Oh, we're out of gas, I guess.
Carrying various satellites from around the world. And at JAXA, there are many projects going on.
Just hanging out to make sure that there's no final questions. I'm not seeing any in chat here, so we will wrap it up. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you very much. My name is Andrew. This is Rocket Future. Looks like today, Japan and JAXA were able to successfully launch the second flight test of H3. And so far, it looks like it's been a completely successful mission. Little early to say for sure that it's a complete mission success, but so far it is. Huge improvements over the last launch attempt, which failed due to some electric issues. This is great to see. I want to see Japan increase their launch cadence, and one way to do that is by having a successful launch of H3 here. So this is very good. This is very good news for Japan. This is very good news for space in general, for space fans. This is another operational launch vehicle we can all go see and enjoy and celebrate. So that's it. Thanks, everybody. My name is Andrew. I already muted them. We got one last comment here from Tony. Says this rocket is trading altitude for speed initially, then get to orbit speed later. That uses a lot more fuel. Talk to you later. Yeah, interesting strategy there. So very, very interesting. Different than how we do it seems. But yeah, thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. My name is Andrew. This is Rocket Future. and peace out.